Welcome, everybody, to the April 2021 Star Notes. We are here with my absolute favorite astrology, Diane Trimbath. If you have not met her before, she is one of our best and brightest for Star Notes. So, Diane, we absolutely love every single time that you come in and can anchor us into the changing energies. So I know there's a lot going on, like every month. So let us know, what is the top priority we should be looking at here this April? What is that blaring thing that we need to know?
Ready, set, action.
Oh,
It's
geez.
all about action this month. It's so alive. The energy is really with us to do it. It's time to just do it. We started out the beginning of the year with the realization that our consciousness has changed, our world has changed, our future has changed, and still we were still a little bit stubborn, just starting to get going with it. And then in March, it was the letting go month. It was the time to let go and to realize that things needed to change, and cut your losses, cut your strings, and make room. So it was the making room for the new. And this month is really all about making it happen, bringing the new changes into your life that are, um, what you've been wanting to do and working on and thinking about doing all year last year. Um, this is the time. This is doing it. This is making it happen. And you might even just be unconsciously driven, but you're driven. And we've got so many planets in Aries. The new moon, which is starting on the 11th, is in Aries, and there's just a pile up, which is all fire. And, so we're ready to act. And then we've got a lot of nice energy with Jupiter this month, which is air in the air signs. It's in Aquarius, but it's supporting. So we've got all these creative ideas flowing, and abundance. It's really a month filled with abundance and the action to take advantage of it, make it happen. So good things can happen. A lot of good things can happen this month.
So
Um,
when you say on the 11th, the new moon, that there's a pile up, what's that mean?
Basically, with any new moon, it's a new seed. It's a new seed for the month, when you will plan to manifest what you want to put your energy into, your thoughts into, and and with any new moon, it's going to bring in new experiences that you're going to instinctively be drawn to. People will come into your life, ideas, situations will come into, opportunities will come into your life, and you'll instinctively be drawn to take advantage of them, not knowing where it's going to lead or how it's going to play out. But with all the Aries in there, I could see, very impulsive. Yes, very impulsive. Let's just go with it, you know. But we've got the sun, the moon, we've got Venus and Mercury. We've also got Ceres and Eris, which are asteroids, and they're all, let's do it. So it's very group energy, very group oriented. But something will start. Something will definitely start, and if it hasn't already, it's going to be that next hurrah.
Push. So you always tell me on the new moon, and I'm usually the one that calls you on the new moon. You always tell me, look out for who calls you on the
Thank
new
you.
moon,
Yes.
because what do you say, that whoever calls you on the new moon is going to be what?
They're going to be part of your month, what's manifesting, what's unfolding. Look and write them down. The people that come in, the calls that come in, the situations that come in, anything new that comes into your life on the 11th. Typically it's on the day itself, but give it a little leeway, the day before, the day after. Um, um, those are the players, so to speak, that will be your opportunity for the month. Every month we get an opportunity.
They're like the pieces on the chessboard that are helping to move things into alignment. to get
Exactly.
you ready for whatever. And so this new moon specifically, you said it's a lot of group energy. It's a lot of just everything that's been building, building, building. This is the launch. This is the next launch of
It,
that.
it's going to be a push for the identity, a push for the ego. It could be physically making physical changes with your body, or physical activities that will be coming in. People are going to start to see you differently, start to see you taking actions that they may not have been aware of before. Or you might start to see yourself being promoted in different ways, as far as getting the word out, publicity that may come in. You might also bring in a partner that you might do something with publicly, or, publicity wise, or opportunities for a growth as far as expansion of the mind, or possibly trips, planning trips that have to do with growth on some level of the mind or for your future.
Mhm.
So all of those things may become activated. Groups, you may get involved in a group or expand some way with a group. That may be coming in, making changes, making reforms. But again, it's all future oriented. It's all, and there's going to be, along with this though, it's not all roses this month. It's almost like this polarity shift that's going to be going on all month. Okay, it's going to be filled with action, and then we're going to have challenges, and then it's going to be filled with action, and then we're going to have challenges. I mean, and the challenges will be pretty extreme, um, which I can get into. But
Yeah.
with this, the challenges coming in this month are pretty much going to have to do with um, pressure. You may be getting pressure from the world, from the outside world, from your status, or for your reputation, from authorities. Um, you may have said, yes, I want to do all this. I want to take this action. I want to go, and then you may be given the opportunity, or you may be challenged on the opportunity. But either way, you're going to have to know what you want, and you're going to have to either have to defend yourself or take action, even though you didn't know you really were going to take the action. You
Mm.
might be given the opportunity, and then you're going to have to go, oh shit, now I
Like
got
a
to
rock
do
and a
this.
hard place. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
yeah.
excuse my French, but um, there will be power struggles coming in this month that have to do with individuals versus authorities, and and personal wants and desires versus the commitments to your job, to your parents, to the authorities, being a parent, being a responsible person, versus the will, having your will and having the way you want things to, there will be extreme challenges, and they're coming in very soon.
Mhm.
um Actually, this all starts, well, the new moon is on the 11th, which is actually going to be it's going to be an opportunity to really, paperwork may be involved, contracts may be involved, promotions may be involved, but there's something to do with getting it down on paper, sitting down at the table, starting an agreement, moving things forward, and everything's going to be really quick, because everything's in Aries. And so the mind is working fast, the actions are being taken fast, quickly, maybe not being thought out as well as they should be.
Hmm.
Um,
And so that's why there's a build of pressure, because it's like we have to do all this, yet it's like we're not really having time to process or calibrate to it. So it's like building, 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 building.
well, partially, yes. But what the pressure is going, because the opportunities are coming from Jupiter, which is a planet of abundance. And so there's going to be a lot. We're going to be juggling a lot.
Mhm.
Okay. Just because of the energies that are going on, and we're going to be processing it, and the opportunities are all here. But then that's coming from Jupiter, and Jupiter is in a sextile relationship, which means it's an opportunity, helpful, bringing it in, here you go. Okay. The challenges come in from Pluto, which is going to be squaring all of that. And it really has to do with ambition and responsibility and the heavy hand of what you're doing, um, based on doing it, if that makes sense.
So does that mean like because just since you and I are here in Ohio, it just finally started hitting like 60s and 70s here for the first time. So does that mean if I'm not ambitious and I'm like, I'm just going to scoot all that stuff to the side and go sit outside and enjoy the sun, I'm going to miss the opportunities if I'm not ambitious and willpower and going after it?
You're not going to miss the opportunities. The opportunities are definitely here. Again, depending on people's individual charts,
Mhm.
it will dictate, how much of this energy will affect them personally, because the energy is definitely in the air. But, when things line up with their charts, that will, it may affect some more than others. Um, but the Pluto aspect is really going to bring in, relationship challenges with people. Um, Pluto is a heavy aspect. It's going to have psychological issues with the actions that are being taken and the responsibilities of the actions that are being taken, and it'll be the authority versus possibly the immaturity, or the will versus the responsibility of what's being ignited.
Okay.
Okay. So anytime Pluto's involved, it's a complete shift in the understanding of, because it's going to be squaring Venus. Venus is a personal planet, it's a relationship planet, it has to do with bonds and agreements and partnership. It could be physical, it could be sexual, it could be monetary, it could be financial, it could be possessions of what you own, or it could be the values of, what you feel the values are. And Pluto is going to square all that, and it's going to be, a psychological and possibly a cut of, relationships, or a change in relationships with that Pluto, because Pluto's very intense, and it's going to want to understand where this is going.
So I remember last month, or maybe it wasn't last month, but when did Venus come in? Was it in March when Venus came in and could bring in this beautiful kind of love or partnership, and now it's being reviewed and possibly cut. Is that the same span that we're looking at, or is
In in March, Venus was in Pisces, for most of the month, and then it went into Aries. It went into Aries in March 21st, and there are very different energies. Venus in Pisces is the artist, it's the poet, it's the dance, it's the symmetry, it's the beauty, it's the, as far as people, you wouldn't have to really finish each other's sentences, or you just, it's just one. It's not two, it's very intimate, very connecting, very flowing. And then it went into Aries on the 21st, and it's a completely different energy. It's a warrior energy. It's a female warrior energy, both masculine and feminine. It's not about the glue and the we. It's about the I. Okay, and the two eyes. So you
and
can
we all know
sense.
that there are
Yeah.
not two eyes in tea or one. So
So the energy, since since March 21st, and it's going to change again April 14th. So we're almost at the shifting point of this energy, and then it goes into something very nice again. But right now, there's a lot of wedging, trying to get forward, trying to get things done, trying to get ahead of each other, or for personal reasons or for personal agendas. But it's not necessarily we. You know, it's like a feisty type of an energy that's been going on. Um, and so when Pluto comes in and says, you know, hey,
Figure this out.
and Venus is going to be ready to fight,
Mm.
because she's not passive at all, and it's all about her. And if someone comes in and says, well, what about these responsibilities, or where are you going with this, or Pluto in Capricorn, it's all about discipline, structures, authority, management, privileges. It's the it has to do with the ambitions, the big picture. Um, and Venus is going to want her way, and so there's going to be this fight coming in, and then right at that time, and that's on the 12th. Okay, and right at the same time we have our first retrograde since February, middle of February. So up until this time, all the planets have been direct, which is again this energy where everything's flowing, everything's moving, things are happening. Our first retrograde, it's actually going to be an asteroid, but it's Juno, and Juno is again about relationships, more so like marriage relationships. It's not Venus, it's more about the
Committed.
marriage type energy.
Or could you even do like long-term business partnerships or anything that's created a pretty solid union, a
Exactly.
contracted union?
And so there are going to start to be shifts in the tension between relations are going to start to come in, and this Venus square Pluto is going to set it off, and then Juno goes retrograde. So there's going to be this processing of the relationships that we're in, the agreements we have with each other, depending on who these people are in our worlds, and psychologically, and physically, it's going to be about what we're giving up or what we've given up in order, of what's being asked of us to do, or what we've committed to do, or what we're about to commit to do. We're going to start, so there's going to start to be this separating pole in relationships coming in. So again, this month is filled with a very much abundance, more than we probably can handle, depending on where it's falling in your chart. And what you want to do is look at where Aries is in your chart. Okay, look at where Aries is in your chart, and then also look where Aquarius is in your chart, because these are the two areas that are going to be lit up in life. And so it has to do with, those are very full, very abundant, very much opportunity. But then there's going to be tensions. If you're going to go with a new team, what happens to the old team? Okay, if you're going to, this new team comes along and they give you all this good, whatever, what happens to your relationships with who you were working with, or who you were hanging with? There's going to be this challenge because of these new opportunities. What happens to the old?
Yep. I like when you said at the top of this that, it's a really big identity month, right? It's about the identity. It's about, who are you and how are you presenting that in the world type of a thing. And it seems to me, we can hear something about our committed relationships, business or romantic, and kind of get scared, like when Juno goes retrograde, that, oh my gosh, everything's going to pull away and things are going to separate or break. But to me, that sounds like, it's a lot of reviewing now. Who am I and how have I changed? And now that I've put all of this into action and I'm living my new identity, what's that mean for everything I've bonded to already? And then how do I have to move forward in the healthiest, most balanced way, because I've now done a deep dive review on myself and separated, given myself enough space from all of these contracts or these people to then know, okay, I still love you, hate you, taking you to the curb, right? And like figuring it out. So it sounds like a beautiful pause moment. Like you said to me personally earlier, retrogrades are a great pause moment. We've had so much intense energy and momentum that we need a break. We need a break to now review and to just reflect. So it seems like we're reflecting for our own self interests when Juno goes retrograde. Is that kind of?
Well, that is true because, Juno represents, again, the marriage partner, the maiden who gets married. And so, before the maiden gets married, she's free, she's independent, she has, her life, her freedom, and then she gets married, and it's no longer that way. Okay, there's a marriage, there's another person.
Do laundry, cook.
There you go. you know
Sorry,
so
maiden.
it's like, wait, what happened? Where did I go?
I was just under a waterfall yesterday. Now I'm doing this laundry. What? So that goes retrograde on what date again?
The 12th.
Oh my gosh, so
Yeah.
much right here at the new moon
Yeah.
transition.
So it's all right now, and the next couple of days are going to really be the shift. And the good news is that on the 14th, Venus will change signs and go into Taurus, where she's very comfortable. And that Taurus energy then, which is going to help this, is, again, we're talking about how can we work together, how can we balance this situation. And now, before, where everything was, very quick spending, quick thinking, quick action, without really thinking it through, now everything's going to start to slow down. And now it's going to be, well, what does it cost? So we're going to start looking at money. We're going to start looking at the value of what we're doing. And we're going to start to look at the art, the quality of the art, or the quality of the investment that we're getting ourselves in, or the quality of the love of the relationship, or the bond, or the commitment. We're going to be looking at the values, but we're working together. It's that type of an energy, which is nice. And Venus is in Taurus. It's all about the allure. It's about, how can I get you over to my side, or back over to my side, So you're going to see that start to come in, and then she's in that energy all month, which is nice, for all of us. And then we've got Mercury, because Mercury, I really haven't talked about Mercury. Mercury has been in Aries, and so again, very quick thinking, quick action, quick transactions, and that is also going to go into Taurus. So things are all going to start to slow down, which is actually nice. I'm going to welcome that. But you're going to start to have a chance to digest, to reason, and to think things through. And you're going to be looking at loyalties. You're going to be looking at friends might come into play in this. I think that people might be losing friends, or the friendships might be in question this month. And so you might be looking at the values of the friendships that you used to have, and the direction of where you're going. That might start to become, and the purchases that you're about to make, and large purchases. Which right now with the Aries, you might be spending money like this, and then you're going to start to slow down and look at, what am I doing with my spending? So that comes in at the end of the month, but that comes in, and not to say you're not going to spend the money, because it's going to be value driven. If you know, if it's quality, and if you really want it, and if it's really worth it, you will spend the money. But you're gonna be looking at those things, um,
Processing differently.
processing things. But you know, Mercury is going to square Pluto, and anytime Pluto has a square, a conjunction, an opposition, or um, you know, a major aspect like that, it's very pronounced in your environment, in your life. You know, a square with Pluto, you don't miss it.
Mm.
And so, you know, with when it squares Venus, it has to do about relationships and love and money. And when it squares uh, Mercury, and that square with Mercury is going to be on the 17th, March or April 17th. And so it's really going to have to do with your ideas and your thinking and your logic, and you could even start to see fanaticism coming in, or you know, people really trying to push their ideas on you, or you could try really trying to push your ideas on other people. But there's going to be this like you know, very high pressure, um, uh, in your convictions or in your logic or in your understanding, which is why you really have to be able to stand firm in what you think you know or what you think you want, because there's going to be pressure coming in this month, um, and a tremendous amount of opportunities. So like I said, it's a bundle of two different agendas going on this month.
Uh,
um,
what about, is there anything with the full moon at the end of the month?
The full moon, let's look at that. That is on the 26th. What before we get to that, there's a couple more things I want to say. Um, the Another thing that is going to happen April 20th is Vesta, which I hadn't really talked about. And she's been retrograde, she's an asteroid, and she has to do with purity and cleanliness and your heart's desire, and what really um, moves you, what really gets you, what you know, when you have experiences, what really fulfills you deep inside. And she's been retrograde since January 19th. And she's going to turn direct on April 20th, and she's been in Virgo. So there has been this undercurrent of cleaning, of getting to the bottom of, you know, either, you know, the truth in the media, in the words, in the programs, in the details, in your health, in your personal health, in your hygiene, in your the food you eat, the exercise, your lifestyle.
I've
Make
heard more people talk about fasting this month that I would never expect those words to come out of their mouth ever.
Yeah.
Ever. And they're like, I'm going to try a fast. And I'm like, what? You go, great, go for it. So
Yeah.
sounds like Vesta energy.
But it's so this has been going on, and she's been retrograde. So there's been this internal gnawing, so to speak, going on. And you'll start to see that you're going to feel some sense of accomplishment, that you've accomplished something that you've been working on for the last 2 months. You're going to start to see that come to play, and feel some satisfaction. And that's in Virgo. So wherever Virgo is in your chart, this has been that area that's been being worked on, being cleaned up, being purified, so to speak. Um, and so that's good to know. Um, and then also Mars has been in Gemini. It'll continue to be in Gemini through the 23rd. So you know, agreements, proposals, contracts, anything that has to do with paperwork or sales, or communications, or getting the word out, or putting in materials together, putting thoughts together. This has been, or buying a car, or issues with cars, or transportation, or making plans for trips. These have all been, the energy that's going on with Mars, and where you're putting your energy into community, local community events, local community affairs, things like this. It's been a nice energy, and it's great time for advertising. With this type of energy, if you need to put any publications together or get the word out, I would do it, before you get to April 23rd. It's a nice time to speak, and for people to, be receptive, and understand and hear. Okay. Mars is going to go into Cancer on April 23rd, which is a completely different energy for it. And so, all of this has been, again, getting your logic straight, getting your things in order, getting things down on paper, getting the plan, the agenda in order. And when it goes into Cancer, it's not comfortable in Cancer. It gets very conflicted, because it gets very emotional, and so it has a hard time acting, because it gets clouded with the emotions, the memories, the family, the shoulds, the sympathy. It has a hard time taking action when it's in Cancer, because it gets clouded with emotion, and it gets conflicted. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so that's our so it's like, get your stuff down now, get the structure, get the plan that you're looking for down now, so that it's locked in, kind of like flush it out now, so that you're not super wishy-washy when it's all emotional and you can't really rationalize or get in that real good logical head. Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. And then you'll also be spending, your time and your energy more so with your family, with your home. You might have water issues come in, um, with the home, or anything that has to do with, or you could be planning water trips, but water is an issue with Cancer, and the emotions, and it's a good time to process your emotions, and get them out, think them through, or
Hallmark movie time.
go on a retreat that has to tie into your emotions and get them out. But it's typically not the best time to for things to move forward, because you got all this stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then, that being said, we've got two very potent days after that. It goes into Mars goes into Cancer on the 23rd of April. On that same day, we have Venus conjuncting Uranus, which means surprises in relations. Okay. You could be bringing in new relations. You could be bringing in new love. You could be attracting very unusual circumstances, financial circumstances, but surprise changes in the direction of your values, your love interest, your purchases, a big change. And then Mars goes into Cancer, which means that, feelings could be hurt by whatever comes in, you know, it kicks off this Mars into Cancer. It never, it always amazes me how these things line up the way they
Yeah.
do. And then the next day we got Mercury conjuncting Uranus, which is again, surprise announcements, surprise information, surprise purchases, surprise sales, surprise travels, unexpected agreements, anything but, very fast and very um, unexpected.
And that's the 24th.
And it could also bring in accidents. So I'd be a little careful on that day. Uh, but so there's a lot going on this month. It's a very personal month. It's very driven with
Yeah.
a lot of personal changes going on in our lives. But fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Super abundant, but get ready for the growing pains. That was my message for one of the paths this month. It's like, you're going to be growing, but there's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of
Yeah.
pains. So get
Yeah.
ready for it.
Exactly. I mean, that is a good way to put it. It's because it's, when you got new, you have the old leaving.
Yeah.
It's the old cycle's done and the new one's coming in. And so and then where do we fall? Where do the chips fall in the middle of all that?
At the 5 5 5, we get a 5 5 5 energy next month. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, that's true.
Gonna be good. And then we
That's
get to
true.
May. I
Yeah.
have no clue astrology wise what May is, but May, to me, I can feel a precipice of awesomeness. But I like things that are rowdy. So
All right.
I assume
Um,
it'll probably be rowdy for everybody else. And I'll be like, what's that guy from the guy with the guns, Sam, the wild whatever. What's his from shoot, Bugs Bunny and Daffy
yeah.
Duck. He's
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Something Sam. Something
yeah.
Sam.
So oh, I feel like that's the energy that's coming in May, and it's going to be like, whoa, let's go.
Well, it is because our worlds are changing. They're changing, and this is the trigger month. This is the trigger, and
May
and so
or
we're pulling it. We're pulling the trigger right now.
April?
You know,
April's the trigger pull.
yeah.
Okay. And May, we're going to find out what we were aiming at.
Pretty much so.
Perfect. All right. Well, I love that. Let's end there because that's a cliffhanger. So join us next
There
month,
we
and
go.
we hope we gave you everything we need for astrology and what's happening in the stars. And Diane, for your wisdom, thank you always. You're just such a source of wisdom, information, and you always give it so easily digestible. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I love doing this. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.